The Nutcracker 3D, or The Nutcracker The Untold Story, or The Nutcracker 2010 is one of the worst movies ever made. And when someone with no standards like me is saying that, then you know it's bad. You might remember in 2020 I did a review of a low-budget animated retelling of the Nutcracker called The Nuttiest Nutcracker. But all you people out there in internet land told me there was another Nutcracker movie that was even worse than that. So that's what we're talking about today. A longtime passion project of Russian director Andrei Konchalovsky, known for various films throughout the years like Tango and Cash and Runaway Train, he apparently wanted to make this movie since the 1960s. He was part of a film based on the famous ballet, but the original director passed away before it could be made. But his interest in the subject matter came back way later, finally getting made 50-something years later. But you know it's a good sign when even the director admits they needed inspiration because the original source material was so bare bones to them, as well as actors looking like they don't know where they are or don't seem like they want to be there. But the film was released and instantly became a box office bomb and a critical failure, not even getting a theatrical release in certain countries. Also, may I add that one of the financiers was a bank owned by the Russian government. I feel like that's also important to point out. Everybody got that? Good. Now let's see this train wreck for ourselves. This is the Nutcracker in 3D, The Untold Story. We begin in 1920s Germany, Tchaikovsky playing in the train cars and waiters falling for some comedic yucks. We move into the home of a wealthy family as the daughter, Mary, is annoyed with her younger brother Max, confirmed for Jumanji, who is toying with her snow fairy off of their Christmas tree, and he begins burning it. Maybe those parents should keep a closer eye on that child. Next thing you know, he's gonna be burning down their entire mansion. On his way to their home is the kid's Uncle Albert. Yeah? As in Albert Einstein. That's actually who that's supposed to be within the continuity of the film. Also, he really enjoys talking to the audience in a blatant fifth wall moment.
I have the strangest feelings that we are being followed. I'd better check. We are not being followed. Now I'm a little disappointed.
Why are you talking to me? What exactly does this accomplish? This is just as uncomfortable as the kid in Jacko always looking at the camera. Wow, say what you want about the Nuttiest Nutcracker, but at least they didn't pointlessly change the uncle into being a famous historical genius like Albert Einstein for no reason. He stops by to watch the children as the kids' parents are going out to a Christmas party. Mary clearly upset by this because she wanted the family to spend time together. I mean, they could still do that when they get back. There's nothing stopping them after that.
Will Dr. Freud be at the festivities?
I certainly hope not.
The parents leave, and Sagai animated rats run into the sewers, one sporting a bad white mop wig. Oh, and the housekeeper is drinking while on the job. Great to see we have such likable characters to follow around in this movie. Albert takes his time with the kids to show off what he got them for Christmas. A dollhouse with 3 toys inside of it, and it also plays music when you crank the crank on the side of the house. And of course, he gives them the titular Nutcracker. The horrifying, terrifying, nightmare-inducing Nutcracker. Nicknamed NC to make it sound more hip and cool for the kids. Despite Mary declaring that this is her toy, Max takes it and immediately breaks it by putting too many nuts in its jaw. Thankfully, Uncle Albert fixes it. He decides to teach Max about compassion through song. If I wanted a song number to teach the audience about how compassion is a good thing, I will happily stick with Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. Thank you very much.
If you're with someone tall, truly vast, unsurpassed, built to last, they will think you're small. Never mind, after all, when you meet a petite, short and sweet, they will think you're tall.
Why don't you come live with us? Tuck me in every night.
I'm always with you, dear.
Before Mary can ask Uncle Albert if he can read her the story of the Nutcracker, he vanishes without a trace. Mary goes to talk with the Nutcracker, and lo and behold, it begins talking back to her. Well, that's creepy. And so is her face of what they probably meant to be amazement, but it looks like her brain just leaked out of her ears. He asks if he could be put on the shelf so he can fall into some pillows and become human child size, as well as completely Sagai animated.
I mean, I've been waiting for someone who believed like you. You're really special.
Ew, stop talking to me with those creepy dead eyes and the annoying high-pitched voice you have.
That's it. I've got a plan. I have to speak to my friends in the doll's house.
You mean they're alive?
Of course. All dolls are alive.
So, what's the plan?
Oh, it needn't concern you. Girls are no good at military strategy.
Typical sexism going on in the military-industrial complex workplace. Well, prepare to get hashtag canceled, NC.
Oh, I was waiting for the obvious left-wing straw man to show up.
Right back at you, right-wing straw man.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Peter.
And happy holidays, Chris. I hate you.
I hate you too. Mary and NC head downstairs, and it's revealed everything has become giant, almost like Mary has shrunken down to the size of a living toy. Well, that's one difference from the Nuttiest Nutcracker. This one doesn't seem to have sentient fruits, vegetables, or foodstuffs. No, instead we get a toy on drums, a clown, and a monkey man, and Reducto, and Jafar, and Skeletor. Great. So far in this movie, we have weird-looking rats, creepy wooden boys with dead, soulless eyes, and now monkey men in suits smoking cigars. Is this what taking drugs feels like? Because if so, I am more than glad I have never touched this stuff a day in my life. After a lengthy scene introducing these side characters, Mary and the Nutcracker go up into the Christmas tree on an ascending sleigh ornament. Once they get up onto a platform, we see the Snow Fairy from earlier, now played by the same actress as Mary's mother. Oh, I see. It all makes perfect sense now. We're clearly operating on the Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, Jumanji, Prince Apple, where the main character goes into a fantasy world where all the characters they come across are reimaginings of people within their day-to-day lives. Now it all makes perfect sense. Who am I kidding? No, it doesn't.
You can join the dance if you like.
But I can't fly.
How do you know if you've never tried?
Oh, but of course they magically make her fly, as an excuse to show off some dancing, cause, you know, the original was kinda known for that, as well as show off some of the 3D. Yeah, well, I'm not watching this movie in 3D, so thanks a lot for that one, buddy! And you know this is pointless since they don't even bring it up later on, making this entire thing a big-lipped, toothless alligator moment. This is then followed by the Snow Fairy singing along to Waltz of the Flowers about what a perfect little Mary Sue and special snowflake or whatever Mary is supposed to be. It's here where the fairy tells Mary that NC is not just a toy, but he is actually a young prince who's been turned into a nutcracker, with a spell casted by the Rat Queen, as he temporarily turns back into a real boy. But no time for that. The song then continues, and we get more sentient ornaments dancing around, including Russian soldiers and Japanese women in geisha outfits. And it seems our heroes are being watched by some rat soldiers with jetpacks. No, I didn't just make that up to be funny. That actually happens in the movie.
We gotta go tell the king. Let's get out of here.
As for the music, it's terrible.
Mary and NC leave to the top of the tree as they can see the prince's city under the Rat King's tyrannical rule off in the distance, showing how they took over. One day they had black castles rising up from out of the ground, and rat soldiers then ascended into the streets, while dressed as Nazis. Yes, such blatant pro-Nazi propaganda in this film. I hope you're happy. You tried making a wholesome Christmas movie for the entire family, but then you're just gonna end up scarring your children with the blatant Nazi imagery. Clearly, every single problem in this movie, as well as in general, should be blamed on the Republicans. Wait, what were we talking about again? Oh, yeah. So we cut over to the Rat King, now in a more human-like form, but still sporting the same white mop wig we saw earlier, in his villain lair, complete with shots of crying children on the walls and even a shark tank.
Oh, so hard-headed. You humans.
Oh, of course we also get a villain song, why am I not surprised? And oh dear lord, he just killed his own shark! Oh wait, never mind, it turns out that it was just an animatronic. If I want to see a fake out where a sea monster turns out to actually be a contraption, I will happily stick with the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything movie, thank you very much. The jetpack-wearing rats tell the Rat King that the prince is still alive, so he goes to his mother, the Rat Queen, for some guidance. Also, for some reason, she's played by the same actress as the housekeeper we saw earlier. So after Mary suggests it, the prince decides they should shut down the smoke factories. Yeah, it took him that long to realize that was an option. No wonder a bunch of rats overthrew their kingdom. So the rats send some robot dogs to bite down the tree, and the queen sips some Gatorade, which makes her stronger, I guess, as the prince turns back into a nutcracker and the tree falls over. But since it's all a dream, Mary falls out of her bed and wakes up. Well, at the very least, this movie's dream sequence didn't have someone pulling a spyglass out from between their legs. Mary heads downstairs and finds her parents, as well as their tree, fallen over. The next morning, she tries to explain what happened, but her parents are not having it, her father especially. This results in Mary singing a sad song, which is set to one of those classical songs written by Beethoven.
You know, I have the strangest feeling that something is wrong at Mary's house. I'd better check.
Einstein comes over to visit the house, and his brother says he shouldn't visit anymore because they think Mary can no longer tell the difference between reality and fiction. This results in a song number about pebbles. Yes, really. Because this clearly warranted a song.
I'm so glad I didn't leave the house without my lucky pebbles.
Lord above, will you stop talking to the audience already? Back in Mary's fantasy world, she comes face to face with NC once again, as he plots to attack the Rat King and his army. In enters Max, and of course, he's not at all fazed by the scary-looking wooden child asking if he'd like to join them on their adventure. Though then again, neither did Columbus when he learned the Earth was round from a cartoon woodworm. As NC heads downstairs and sees the dollhouse empty, he ends up getting taken by the rats through the fireplace. Mary and Max finally come downstairs as well, Mary sporting a hat that would make that one musician guy Farrell jealous, and the Rat King reveals himself. He also rips off the Jamaican doll's head like it was nothing, before promptly putting it back. Well, thank you, that was pointlessly dark. The Rat King takes the toys with him to destroy them in his factory, and Max, for no reason, decides to go with him on his motorbike. But it seems the Monkey Man managed to hide from the rats, so him and Mary have to think of a plan. With this new plot element they introduced at this very moment, they use a mirror in the dollhouse that acts as a portal between their worlds. Oh, come on, now they're just blatantly ripping off the Chronicles of Narnia. Pfft, shame on you, movie! And then they do away with this new development as they shatter the mirror into a million pieces immediately after as they try to evade a rat soldier. And it's here where the World War II imagery is on full display, since the Rat King's kingdom is basically Nazi Germany. So Einstein finally shows up in Mary's dream and tells them to follow the toys, leading them to the Rat King's factories. Meanwhile, NC and the other toy characters escape and look for an exit, but they're spotted by a robot dog. NC tells the others to split up, and he ends up getting stuck on a jump, and he ends up getting killed. I'm sorry, but this villain song is nowhere near as good as the Big Cheese from the Nuttiest Nutcracker, so skip! The point is, Max refuses to help destroy the toys and begins crying, so the Rat King takes him prisoner. Mary goes down one of the chutes they're dumping the toys and ends up inside the factory, noticing such imagery like slave labor and toys being burned inside of a giant furnace. Coming across the others, they see NC's lifeless husk being put on a conveyor belt to be incinerated. Through the power of a musical number to distract the guards, Mary receives NC's body and puts him back together, but he doesn't seem to be coming back to life.
I can't wake him. Please help me. You have to.
The last time their power overwhelmed me. It has to be you.
How? What do I have to do?
Thank you for that. That was incredibly helpful on your part. But with the power of Mary's tears and true love and other stuff like that, NC is now back. Yay! And he's also turned back into a human. Yay! And the sight of their prince back inspires the workers to revolt. They must have some incredible throwing arms, considering 3 people threw a torch and not once did it accidentally set some of those poor toys on fire. The prince leads everyone through the sewers, but the Rat King shows up riding on motorbike. Also, why are they even bothering with the bikes, considering they have jetpacks on? The prince tries to hide Mary away in an elevator while they fight, but the Rat King finds her anyway. The rats retreat because of a high-pitched alarm, but they make off with Mary, even despite the prince and the monkey man giving chase on motorbike. The Rat King and Queen argue over what they should do next, and Max offers to help them get away in a helicopter. Yes, trust the little boy who you clearly took prisoner. It seems like the bad guys are going to get away with the 2 kids, but the prince and monkey show up to make it onto the helicopter, and it's stupid-looking chicken leg things. Don't even question it. The movie's stupidity is almost over, thank God. After a scuffle between all of our characters, the helicopter crashes in town square. The rats turn back into their rodent forms and flee into the sewers, meaning everyone is now free from the tyranny, and they all rejoice with another song sequence. Even the snow fairy shows up and sends Mary back to the real world.
Goodbye, Mary. You have to go. I'll never be able to repay you. We'll meet again.
And now ripping off the Wizard of Oz, Mary wakes up and has her own "and you were there" moment with all of her family and loved ones. Her father is even eager to hear about her dream. Albert shows up and introduces Mary to a little boy who's his neighbor, and wouldn't you know it, his initials are NC, and he's played by the same actor as the prince, as the movie ends with the 2 of them skating together. Film done! So that was the Nutcracker 3D, The Untold Story. That was horrible. Now, usually when I do these captivating Christian videos, it's clearly meant to be a joke. Like, you know, oh, look at this dumb guy taking these stupid, silly movies and, you know, over-politicizing them or making really dumb, bogus remarks or getting information wrong. This movie was so bad, I feel like it's appropriate to break character and talk about how horrible this movie was. Clearly the director meant this as a passion project. I learned all about how long he's wanted to make this movie, and you know what? It's like the old saying goes, sometimes passion is blinding, and he probably thought he was making a masterpiece, but my God, this movie was awful. According to what I read, by the second act, they had to start looking for different sources of inspiration because the original play was so bare bones. And apparently his key inspiration was to drudge up imagery of Nazis during World War II. To add to that, some of the characters are either bland, generic, annoying, or all of the above. The songs just add these really terrible and corny and cheesy lyrics to really beautiful music like the original Nutcracker suite. All those songs are just bastardized with these terrible lyrics. And on top of all of that, the actors look like they're either hamming it up, like John Turturro as the Rat King, and even Nathan Lane as Uncle Albert. But, my God, everyone looks like they are just not giving a crap when they were making this, and I can't blame them. If there's any kind of backhanded compliment, the special effects for a non-big studio film look pretty good, but that's not enough, man. That's not enough to save this just absolutely dreadful movie. But enough of that. Let's get back to what Christy Ian thought of the movie. So overall, The Nutcracker in 3D, it's not good, like, at all. And easily my biggest complaint about this film is that it wasn't even as good as The Nuttiest Nutcracker. I mean, I'm just saying, The Big Cheese, kind of a good song, a bop, as the kids these days are calling it. This movie clearly could have used a song on that level. It probably would have saved the film.
Big cheese, I'm the big cheese. Big cheese, that's me.
Okay, maybe not, but still, it would have been something. Well, that does it for Captivating Christian in 2023. Hopefully in 2024 we have some better movies to look at, though I highly doubt it considering the kind of movies we talk about on this show. And remember everyone, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and may Jesus be with you.
Sorry, too long.